Over the last several months, there's been much news made about increased scrutiny with immigration cases, more instances of immigration interviews taking place, and all these additional measures to further scrutinize on certain immigration cases. And with that, many people expect and have expected that processing times will increase. Hey everybody, U.S. immigration lawyer Michael Ashoori here, and in today's video, I have some positive news to share with you regarding processing times for certain immigration cases. Now, over the last several months, there's been much news made about increased scrutiny with immigration cases, more instances of immigration interviews taking place, and all these additional measures to further scrutinize on certain immigration cases. And with that, many people expect and have expected that processing times will increase. But we've been seeing something else on certain cases. We've been seeing instances of some immigration cases being processed even faster than they have been in the past. So I'm now going to share some specific examples with you of some cases that I'm aware of where processing times are lower than what one would ordinarily expect. And I'll leave it to you to make of it what you will. So with that, let's jump right into these examples. The first example that I want to share with you is an EB-5 visa case where the individual filed their I-526, which is the initial immigrant petition that is filed for an EB-5 case. So they filed their I-526 immigrant petition along with their adjustment of status, which is the application to convert from the non-immigrant status that individual held in the United States to become a lawful permanent resident. They filed both of those applications on August 23rd, 2024. From the date of that filing, the I-526 was ultimately approved on May 1st, 2025, well under a year from the time of filing, and the adjustment of status application, the Form I-485, was approved on July 30th, 2025. So from the initial submission of the EB-5 petition, the I-526, and the adjustment of status application, which were filed concurrently, the entire case was approved in less than 1 year. Now, let's contrast that from years ago when EB-5 cases were oftentimes taking a year and a half, maybe even 2 years or more for that same timeline of events to take place. So that's just one example. I have another example also of an EB-5 case where the I-526 petition along with the adjustment of status were filed on August 12th, 2025. The I-526 in this case was approved on April 16th, 2025, and the adjustment of status was approved on July 11th, 2025. So that's another example from the initial filing of the I-526 and the adjustment of status all the way until the approval of the adjustment of status was under a year. That's tremendous. You might be thinking, wow, that seems like a long time. Well, compared to what we were seeing years ago, this is a major improvement. Now, EB-5 is just one type of case. You might be thinking to yourself, maybe that's just EB-5. Maybe the government has an interest in bringing wealth into the country, and so they're prioritizing speeding up that case to the exclusion of other cases. Well, if that's what you're thinking, I don't blame you, but I want to share with you another example of a totally different type of case where we also saw a tremendous improvement in processing time. The case that I'm going to share with you now is a marriage-based adjustment of status. So this is when somebody is in the United States and they are applying to adjust status based on marriage. In this case, it was marriage to a United States citizen. So in this case, the way the case works is that there's two forms that are filed. There's a Form I-130 and there's a Form I-485. The Form I-130 is the immigrant petition, and the Form I-485 is, again, as you heard earlier, the application to adjust status. Now, in this case, the I-130 and the I-485 were concurrently filed. They were filed at the same time on April 14th, 2025. The I-130 was approved basically 2.5 months later on July 1st, 2025, and the I-485 was approved on July 2nd, 2025, just a day later. So basically, from the time that this individual filed their marriage-based green card case from within the United States on April 14th, it just took basically 2.5 months to get their adjustment of status approved. 2.5 months for the marriage-based green card process. That is extremely fast. When we're talking about immigration processing times for a marriage-based green card, 2.5 months is remarkably fast. So I've seen these cases take as long as 1.5 years, 2 years, or even longer. So the fact that in July of this year, we saw a marriage-based green card case get approved from filing to approval in roughly 2.5 months is truly remarkable, and I believe that this is cause for hope. Now, I know that in this video, I've just gone over 3 select examples where processing times are faster than what they've been in the past. And I don't necessarily want to draw an inference that this is something that we're going to continue to see become more and more common. But in a landscape of immigration where everybody is talking about all this bad news about stricter adjudications, more extended processing times, and all this stuff, I want to show you that that's not necessarily the case across the board. We are seeing cases get processed faster in some cases now than they have in the past. And hopefully that is some good news that can help brighten up your day. I hope you got some value from this video as always. If you like this video, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. As always, I want to sincerely thank you for tuning into our videos, and I'll see you on the next one.